Right, let's get started. So I've heard about this video, Piers Morgan reacting to um Unite the West rally, and I've heard it's pretty awful, to be honest. And well, what can we expect? And I can see he's got old chunk yogurt on. I don't know why he has this guy on, can I point to him? Is there any way I can do that? To have a little pen up? Doesn't matter. We all know who Chunk Yogurt is. He's just one next to Pierce. So let's just start and play it. But what I want to say is, we can guarantee in this interview, if Chunk Yogurt's there, his right name's Chunk Uyghur. I call him Chunk Yogurt. If Chunk's there, he's going to blame absolutely every single thing. It all fall back to Israel. I can guarantee it. All he ever blames on everything. If a leaf falls off a tree, it's Israel's fault. So we'll get playing.
We're on the march, we're walking up towards Trafalgar Square. The crowds go. This is the biggest event in British history.
Do you have a vendetta against Tommy Robinson because the last time he was on your show, he gave you a shellacking and you've never forgiven him for it?
What happens all the time with anti-Muslim hatred is projection.
I'm not anti-Muslim. I like Muslims who like me. I don't like Islam.
Shut up. Hey, bigot.
You shut up.
Shut up.
You shut up.
Shut your mouth.
What you gonna do?
Okay?
Do you have sympathy for the young English girls that have been assaulted? Do you have sympathy?
Sorry,
So now you're stuttering. Now you're stuttering.
No, I haven't.
So you've just exposed yourself.
Do you know what? I have a no stupid people rule for this show. The way you started this panel and the way you've ended it suggests that you shouldn't have passed our bar.
That girl there that Piers was talking to, she's called Basin Bougie, and she's actually a really nice person. I can't believe he just literally called for all his morality schlong licking, he's just called a black woman stupid there. But Piers Morgan show's genuinely turned into a Temu version of the eBay version of Jerry Springer. Let's see.
Well, later in the show, we will debate Israel's threat to sue the New York Times and claims of an Israeli plot to hijack voting at the Eurovision Song Contest. We'll begin with the competing rallies held this weekend in London. Tommy Robinson's Unite the Kingdom march has captured the imaginations of many conservatives around the world, not least among the US right wing. And imagination is certainly the word I would use for it. Millions of people have seen this image over the last 48 hours, alongside claims that half the country turned out for Tommy. You shouldn't take a genius to figure out that's not London. In fact, that's not even a real photograph. The police say about 50,000 attended, and despite the usual cries of...
Now, Piers is talking utter BS here, because I've seen aerial footage from this march, and the crowd goes on for miles. The last one, I would say, was much bigger. But yeah, the crowd goes on for miles and miles and miles. Even Americans, I've seen Americans react to it, and they've said they could only dream of one man creating a rally like this. They've not even seen Trump be able to do this. So I think Piers Morgan couldn't, in his dreams, could only wish to get a crowd this size, because he's not pulling the numbers on his channel, is he?
Conspiracy, there's no evidence or reason to think that they're lying. Tommy Robinson, on the other hand, is either lying or just very bad at maths.
We're on the march, we're walking up towards Trafalgar Square. The crowds go. Parliament Square's really full. The crowds stretch from here to Euston Station, apparently, which is miles. Okay? And miles. This is the biggest event in British history. This is the moment, a turning point for Britain, a message to the leaders. Britain's ready for the fight, right? We blew up, we're awake. We're not going to back down. Just keep it, we want our country back.
What I'd like is some accuracy back. This wasn't the big...
Oh, so Piers also has something called Tommy derangement syndrome as well. I don't understand what it is. He calls him a liar, a criminal, everything under the sun. Piers has got an absolute cheek to talk about anybody, considering basically he's known as a cuck. If anybody that doesn't know what that was, so Piers Morgan's wife's on Instagram, and she puts up it's quite scandalous stuff where she's always like kind of like advertising for, she gets like buff like young black men and stuff and makes them wear speedos to clean a pool while she sits there and watches them and makes sexual remarks and puts the pictures up on her. Yeah, it's kind of strange when you've got a but then again, look at Piers. Can if she's stepping out, do you really blame her?
Biggest event in British history. It wasn't even the biggest event in London this weekend, given that 84,000 people attended the FA Cup final at Wembley. And there was some equally creative accounting going on a mile away at the rival march in support of Palestine. MP Zara Sultana said she was proud to join 250,000 people at the Nakba rally, which police
I
say
honestly can't believe as well that they got away with literally having a Nakba rally. A Nakba rally. The Nakba is when yeah. I'm sure you guys all know what a Nakba is.
Attended by 20,000 people. To be clear, this doesn't mean that tens of thousands of people attended the rallies. They did. It just doesn't mean that their views should be exaggerated in such a ridiculous manner.
Why do you care, Piers?
Are valid, and I respect them.
Like, he is literally going to, I've not watched this, but I've got a feeling he's literally going to laser focus in on the numbers, and it's going to be this drivel for hours and hours, and then we'll hear the comments when he's talking about Trump especially, or anything to do with the military. We always get these statements from Piers Morgan. I've known Trump for 20 years and he just phoned me yesterday. Or another one. My brother was a colonel in the British Army. Yeah. You could read them like a book.
In this country, I think, are a moderate, tolerant, and open-minded.
How would you know?
Certainly more than you may have been led to believe. The rally also showed that Tommy Robinson's onto something when he talks about two-tier policing. He just hasn't quite figured out what it is yet.
Thank you, Dove! Thank you, Dove! Thank you! It's not too late to get Islam out of that building! It is not too late to get Islam out of every single official office in this country!
The speakers and performers at the pro-Palestine rally have made similar speeches about Jews that have been arrested amid a national outcry. And for the record, they would have deserved it.
Hold on, Piers. No, stop. I'm going to stop you right there. The difference with the pro-Palestine rallies are they're shouting genocidal chants like "gas the Jews," "from the river to the sea," horrendous things. To say that you don't want political Islam in the UK government, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? It's a totally different culture. That it would be like me going to Saudi Arabia and demanding that they set up a Christian sect for us, and then trying to encroach on their Muslim values. You just wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. So the pro-Palestine rallies where they chant for Hamas and stuff like that is totally different to a woman saying that she doesn't, and people saying that they don't want political Islam and the government. It used to be you had to be Christian, and it should be that you should be at least born, the very least, born in this country to be a member of parliament. Because at this point at the moment, you can literally be in Britain for a couple of years, and you could potentially become an MP and then potentially become Prime Minister. We could have someone that's like sneaks in from, I don't know, like covers all the tracks from the Communist Party China, or ISIS or something. I'm just like taking a swing out there. And come and live in Britain. I mean, we've literally got Hamas members living here at the moment, anyway. But come and live in Britain, and then join like the Greens or something, which is that's got radical Islamic elements about it, and they could literally become prime minister. Prime minister of a country that their family never bled for, that they've never paid into the pot. They don't have any generational ties in that here, so they don't really have much allegiance to that country. So of course they're going to change it, you know. So people shouldn't be able to come into Britain, and serve in our government that at least that weren't born here, and yeah, and our laws and stuff are built on Christian values. So at the very least, I would say two things: you have to be born here, and let's keep it, because that's what our laws are based on as a Christian value country. We don't want Islamic encroachment into the country. I don't want even like Hindu or Sikh or anything. Although, like, I don't mind. We've got freedom of religion in this country. No one minds people going and praying and whatnot in their churches, mosques, temples, or whatever. But all what we're saying is that we wouldn't be able to move to Qatar or Saudi Arabia or China or even like try to think of like other places and literally become a member of their government, and much less become a leader, having not been born there. I mean, even in America, you've got to be a born citizen of the US to be an American president. In Britain, you don't, and I think that's dangerous.
This. I want to finish with a point we could probably all agree on.
Before I say that Piers is, and because I've seen this clip online, this is what made me want to come and watch this. Do you know Piers's team literally put AI over this video to make the voices out of tune and make the instruments sound out of tune? And then he's going to waffle on about how he was a judge on Britain's Got Talent. How he ever got on that, like, astounds me, because what is Piers Morgan talented at musically, or he doesn't sing or dance or anything, you know, so why was he even a judge on there? It always kind of shocks me. So it's hard to listen to. I'm going to skip through it because he's AI voice. Well, that's cruel to do that.
Finally, Tommy Robinson and me agree about something, cutting that monstrosity off before it could finish. And to be fair to him, he has united the kingdom in condemning what we just heard as possibly, and I speak as a former judge on Britain's Got Talent, the least talented singing we've ever heard on these isles. Well, joining me now are Cenk Uygur, the founder and CEO of the Young Turks and a prominent critic of online Islamophobia, Don Keith, host of the Real Beef podcast, who was barred from entering the UK to attend the rally, Ava Santina, political editor and Politics Joe, and Sintish, better known as Based and Bougie, who attended the United Kingdom rally and called me out on stage. And we'll get to that in a moment. Let's get to that off the start, because it was...
Of course, Piers is going to want to start to that, because he's talking about himself, his favourite subject.
My attention. Welcome to Uncensored, Sintish.
Thank you.
Do I call you Sintish or Based and Bougie?
Sintish or Based.
Or Bougie?
Based, Bougie, Sintish, whatever.
Any one of the three?
Yeah.
What's your actual name?
Sintish.
Just told you.
That's your name you're born with?
Yeah, that's
okay.
my name, Sintish, yeah.
But Based and Bougie is your...
It's just the name that I use for my account, yeah.
Got it. So you talked about me during this event. Let's have a look.
You're seeing people in solitary confinement for a difference of opinion, and now you're seeing people like the likes of Piers Morgan calling us the same old boring far right for being patriotic. Well, I have a question for Piers Morgan. If this is a far right racist extremist event, then what the am I doing here?
Ooh.
The establishment, Piers Morgan, Keir Starmer need to learn that us patriots are this country's last hope. And rather than waking up to this fact, they would rather sit there and police when and where the English people wear the English flag. Let me make something very clear. If seeing the Union Jack makes you cross, respectfully, pack your bags and get lost. Support the country you live in, or go live in the country you support.
Dish, obviously, I fully respect your right to free speech. What is the Union Jack, do you think?
For me, the Union Jack is a sign of first.
No, what is it? Well, whose flag is the Union Jack?
The British flag.
Hmm?
The British flag.
You said English flag there.
The English, no, the Union Jack is the British flag.
Why did you say? Why did you say English
Oh
flag?
my God, he's not seriously nitpicking on that. Well, because she's on a stage and you're bound to be nervous and stuff like that. And we've got literally 4 flags entwined into the Union Jack. And when I hear people abroad and stuff, when they talk about the UK, they just automatically think of England. Many people kind of forget that there's 4 other countries attached to the United Kingdom. I can't believe he's nitpicking. I suspect oh God, what a tosser.
When you're under pressure, you end up saying things, but it is the British.
You don't think England is United Kingdom?
No,
You
I'm
just
saying
said that.
The Union
it's
Jack
like-
obviously represents.
I know the difference between the two, but what we're discussing here
What is the
today
English flag? Do you know?
is this flag.
To see what I mean about this doofus. I mean, she's basically answered his question, and now he's trying to reel her and get a gotcha kind of moment because he's an asshole.
With the Red Cross.
Right. So, but that wasn't the one behind you. And that wasn't the one you were talking about.
Okay, congratulations, you caught me here.
Well, no, I'm not trying to take gotcha. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
if you're gonna
yeah.
start-
When you're under pressure,
if
you
you're
end
gonna
up
start
saying things.
Okay, we're going to start
Especially
haranguing
when
me
there's
on.
millions of people,
Listen,
you
if you're
get a
gonna
little
start-
bit nervous.
Yeah, but Cynthia, if you're gonna-
Millions of people.
If you're going to start haranguing people like me for not understanding what it means to be English, it would help if you understood what the English flag
No.
actually.
What she meant, Piers, is you do not understand the what it means to be working class in England. You claim to be one of us. You've got no idea what it's like for the normal people in this country. You live in a fancy house in Bel Air behind a gated football with their everyday regular Joe, but you sit in boxes that are literally worth tens and tens of thousands of pounds, where us regular people could never afford to go. You're not one of us, you're an elite rich prick. Let's be honest about it.
So you caught me.
Do you want to apologise?
No, I'm not going to
Oh my
apologize because I was
God.
under pressure. It was a crowd full of millions of people, even though you tried to down.
God, he's sitting there literally nitpicking and then misquoting her and then saying, "Do you want to apologise?" Don't apologise to base. Please do not. I hope you don't apologise to this fool.
There's the people.
Yes,
50,000 people were there.
There
The police
wasn't.
said.
There was
The police
not
said it was 1.2
50,000
million.
people.
No, the police said 50,000.
Okay, even if it was 1.2.
Why are
even if
you
it was,
lying about the number of people
Why would I
there?
lie? That's what I saw.
The police confirmed there were 50,000 people.
Okay, but Piers, why
Are
are
they
you
all
so...
lying?
Okay, but Piers,
Did you
of
have
all the
millions
issues-
hiding somewhere I
of
didn't
all the
see?
issues they was talking about, whether
You can clearly see on the screen there, and like I said before, even Americans have commented on how much people are there, and they say Trump will fill up football stadiums, and they've said that was about 10 football stadiums worth of people that they saw on the streets. There was hundreds of thousands. I don't know much about the millions. Maybe there was maybe up to it could be, but for a definite fact, there was more than 50,000 people there, much more. But Piers cannot handle the fact that Tommy Robinson can draw crowds that large, that us everyday Brits, that just want to have our culture and customs and our way of life back. That we're sick of basically this. I mean, we're sick of feeling like we don't recognize our country anymore, Piers just, he doesn't understand. He doesn't get it because he's not. He's an elitist wanker.
It's women being
You just
raped,
said
whether it's
1.2
Q-tip
million people were
policing,
there.
whether it's all the issues they were talking about, women being groomed. The only thing you're obsessed about is the numbers. Are you being serious?
Do you know what I saw? And talking
There was
talking of the treatment of women's centres. Do you know
Yes.
one of the clips that I saw that was doing the rounds from the rally?
Show me.
It was where some women were looking down from a rooftop down at the rally, and a lot of the people marching in the rally, men, chanting "Get your tits out for the lads," and thought that was hilarious. How does that square, do you think, with protecting women?
Well, I obviously think that's absolutely disgusting. And if Tommy Robinson or all of the organisers were to see that, they would be absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
But you bringing that up, what's the point? Because there's so many people under your comment section who may look at me and they may call me the N-word or the B-word. Is that a reflection of you? May I ask?
There are people calling you the N-word on my comment section.
There may be people.
Where?
on the-
Have you just made that
I
up?
said there may.
You haven't even appeared on my
I
show.
said there may be.
Oh,
There may be.
He's doing a nitpick again. Like, Pierce, you understand what she's saying. What she's saying is, you have a show and you have guests on that. Some of them act like they should literally be on Jerry Springer, and you get people in the comment section that'll say nasty things. But does that make then a reflection on you? Is the thing that the people say in your comment section a reflection on you because they're commenting on your comment section? You can't control absolutely everybody's actions at a march, rally, a comment section, whatever, and so it's not a reflection on you. If some people are using bad behaviour, and you're well aware of this, you went to school for journalism, you've done thousands of interviews, you know what she's saying, and you're just being a patronising dickhead.
They do it with
You
other
haven't
guests as
even
well.
appeared on my show.
Okay, well, they may do it with other guests as well. They may insult other of your guests. What I'm saying is,
Do you actually
after
know?
this,
Have you actually looked at the comment section?
yes, I have.
She's being hypothetical, you absolute moron.
Well, who are you talking about?
Can you
Who's
let me
been...
finish my sentence? What am I here for if you're not letting me finish my sentence?
I think you're just making stuff up.
What I'm trying to say is, when you go on your comment section, of course, people say negative things. Is
No,
that a reflection
she's
of
not
you?
making things up, because I've seen your comment section, Piers, and I've seen when you've had Jewish guests on, your little pro-Pally and Islamist mob down there all sit and literally say things like they should be shot and things like that. I've seen that kind of stuff on your comment section, that they should be gassed and things like that. Is that a reflection on you? By your standards, then you must want the Jews to be gassed in, because that's literally what you're saying here. So going by your standards, then you're now an anti-Semite, and an absolute tosser.
Have you ever seen anyone be called the N-word on my comment section?
What I'm saying is,
Have you?
people say
Probably
negative
has.
You
things.
just said that happens.
People
When?
say negative things.
Have you seen
Let's
it?
put the N-word aside. People say negative
Okay,
things.
you
Is
haven't,
that a
have you?
reflection
You
of
haven't.
you?
Shut
So far, we've moved.
Shut up, Piers. She's making an analogy, and you well know, like, this is, like, you see, between him, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and that idiot Candace, these people literally would literally have you put on anxiety medication because they make your blood boil. Phil knows what he's doing here. He's a professional, well, I don't know, a professional interviewer, even though his show is, what's it called, uncancelled or whatever. I can't even remember what it's called. And he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. And she's already explained it to him, but he still has to go in and in and in. Tell me, have you? What was the date? What was the time? What was the show? Who was the person? Just get a grip. Go and get laid. Get your wife to come off of Instagram. Stop fantasizing about being with other guys and get yourself laid.
Question.
So
Is that
far,
a reflection of
so
you?
far, we've established.
didn't answer my
Listen, I'm not
question.
going to get. I don't know who you. Until you came today, I had
Yes.
no idea who you are. Right?
Okay,
And I'm
great.
very happy to have you here. I absolutely respect your right to be on this march.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem.
Thank
I
you so
respect
much.
the right of everyone to protest peacefully.
Thank you
And
so
actually,
much.
both marches went off relatively peacefully with a small.
Honestly
handful of
not,
arrests. I commend
because
them.
you've literally harangued this girl from the start. You've not let up on her, and it looks like you hate that saying this, because you're an absolute woke fool. But it looks to me, judging by your standards, you have got a white man there bearing down on a black woman. But give her due. I'll give her her based her due. She's standing back, and good on her. Good on her. She's standing up to this absolute tosspot and giving him good back.
Police for excellent work, and I commend the marchers for not being violent. Okay,
Thank you so much.
Shouldn't have to come to that, but I do. But so far, you've only been on the show 3 minutes, and so far we've established that you got the flag wrong.
Okay.
Right, when you were lecturing
Bloody
me
hell.
about what it takes to be English.
Under pressure with
you said
millions
there were
of people.
1.2
Back
million
on
people, and the
this.
police said there were 50,000.
Who cares?
Right, and then you start accusing us of having black people accused of being the N-word on my comment section, and then admit you've never actually seen
Not
that.
what
I
she
will find it
said.
and I will post
Do you
it.
think
But what
maybe,
I'm trying to
Cynthia,
say
you should maybe
is it a
just-
reflection of
Cynthia,
you?
no
Is the
disrespect to you.
negative comments a reflection of you? The same way people are.
Since
asking
you
those
don't even
young
know what
ladies-
comments you're talking about.
I have seen the comments. They've said nasty things.
Give
They've
me
said
one.
about Andrew Tate, about Candace Owens. They will call
Give me a comment.
Candace Owens, a Jew hater. They will call Andrew Tate misogynistic. Is that a reflection of you?
What's your
So don't
point?
point that at Tommy. That my point is, just because negative things happen at an event filled with millions.
Oh, you
don't
got
point
him
that at
there.
Tommy.
Yeah,
And
you
this is what
got
I
him
mean.
there.
We've come here to nitpick at the most silliest things, even though we
I
were
haven't
talking
pointed
about
out yet, Tommy
very
Robinson.
important things, like women who have been groomed, like men who have been stabbed by Islamists.
Mm.
And then you come here to talk to me about flipping 50,000 people. And when I said the
You
English
tell
flag
him
and British flag,
sentence.
this is absolutely irrelevant to the whole point of the event.
Do you
So what are
agree-
we
do you-
actually talking about today, Piers? Can we talk about something important rather than nitpicking
Do you know what? Here's
on
what
the
we're going to
number
talk
of
about.
people?
Why don't we talk about Tommy
I
Robinson's
swear to
claim?
God, like this girl, I think she's in her 20s. She's acting more mature than this old fart is. This is.
It was the biggest event in British history. Do you believe that?
I think it was last year. Was
You
definitely
do?
was. Yes,
Bigger
it
than the
was.
signing of the Magna Carta, the Act of the Union.
Oh, of course,
the
it's not
Industrial
going to be
Revolution.
as big as the Magna Carta sign and stuff like that, Piers. But what they're meaning is a big protest. What I suspected he meant by that was maybe the biggest protest in British history for people coming together and being absolutely sick of being lied to by a dictator in our government, a conservative Christian movement. It doesn't have to fit into one niche little pile. So of course it's not going to be as big as the bloody Magna Carta or Princess Diana's funeral and stuff like that. But from what I took of that statement was that it's probably one of the biggest conservative Christian movements that we've had in the UK.
The Battle of Britain, bigger than Brexit, for example.
I don't think he even said that. Why are you comparing
Literally
it to
just
that?
said it in the clip we played 5 minutes ago.
Okay, well, I think it was an excellent event. It was a huge event. I was there present myself.
Was it the biggest event in British history?
It wasn't the biggest event.
50,000 people. It wasn't.
It wasn't the biggest
Good.
event in British
Now we're
history.
getting
That's
somewhere.
absurd.
Now we're...
Oh.
It's absurd. I agree.
Yes, we finally found something to
This
agree
is
with.
great. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. By the end of this, you'll be denouncing Tommy Robinson
Absolutely not.
as a fantasist. All right.
Absolutely not.
Let me bring in Ava here. Welcome back to Uncensored. In a way,
I want to just state something here. I cannot stand this bitch. She's a utter left wing Piers schlong liquor. Cannot stand her. Cannot stand her in chunk yogurt. She's utterly. Oh, I'll just let you watch.
you about all these marches that if they are inciting hatred, and you can see clear evidence of that, I think that's unacceptable. If they're not, just because we don't particularly agree with people's politics or their views or don't like the look of them, to me, in a democracy, if you're protesting peacefully, that's fine by me. I think you and I have discussed this and you didn't dissent from that.
Going pro-march.
Did you see anything at the weekend in either march that you felt crossed the line?
Well, I was quite alarmed at some of the anti-Semitic theories that were circulating that march. And,
Wait, what? There was literally people in that march. There was hundreds and hundreds of Israel flags. There was people on the stage that were speaking up for Israel. There was Israelis in the audience. There was Jews in the audience. Do you think any Jews were safe over in the pro-Pali march? That's where the anti-Semitism was. That's where all the anti-Semitic hate's coming from of lately. It's not coming from normal British people. That crowd was full with there was white people, black people, brown people, Asian people, all different Persians from Iran. It was a sea of people that came together. But on the other march, they were literally shouting, "We want to shoot Tommy Robson in the neck just like we did Charlie Kirk." That's what they were shouting. But Piers won't show that. And then you've got this fool lying saying that the United Kingdom was the one that was anti-Semitic. Now, the one that's anti-Semitic is the march that shouts "Gas the Jews" and "From the river to the sea" and stuff like that. The Nakba march.
As with all marches, they're not going to be all 50,000 people saying those things. It is going to be people on the fringes. But I was deeply concerned about this idea that was widely being talked about, that Jews were moving Muslims into the United Kingdom to destabilize.
No one said that. Do you know the only place I've heard that say? On the Dawa channel. So you've got channels on YouTube and like Chunk Yogurt's nephew Hassan Piker and Chunk himself. You hear it from it's because for some reason the Muslim community are really into conspiracy theories. That's why they love Candace Owens so much. The only people I've heard say this is those communities that Israel's moving Muslims into this country to destroy it and stuff. And it's a tactic like the Muslim Brotherhood are using to make people hate Jews. And it's just, we don't believe you anymore. We just don't. We don't care about your booze because we've heard what makes you cheer. You're a hypocrite.
The government, and this was more than 10 or 11 people saying this was circulating. That deeply concerns me. Another thing that concerns me is that under the guise of other political movements, Tommy Robinson has managed to sort of launder his reputation with the British National Party, the BNP, which believed in ethnic nationalism. He would not have wanted any person of colour if he believed in what the BNP did at that time, at that march. And what scares me is that this is just the beginning. It's get everyone on side. What's going to happen next? I mean, does that not worry you that he was in the BNP? Does that not scare you?
So why did he leave the BNP? Why did he stop supporting
it? Well, the BNP disbanded. It stopped becoming a political force. It stopped being a political force.
Well, from my understanding of Tommy Robinson, he left the BNP, he left the EDL because of these racist rhetorics. For example, there's a new party called Restore Britain. After Restore Britain launched, there was a lot of people that were being extremely racist towards people like myself. And Tommy Robinson actually recently came out and made a video saying that Rupert Lowe needs to actually sort this out and stop the racism. So I'm quite confused to how you're still here trying to be so desperate to make him
when you had
May I just say
all the Africans also singing at the event. We saw
this girl is going to Sintage. I'm going to use her real name because it's a beautiful name. Sintage is going to wipe the floor with this liberal loon. You can tell she's going to get her feelings all hurt or something like that. You can see it in her eyes. She's about to cry. Don't mess with like a strong black woman. That'd be my advice, because they know how to handle their mouths.
Many Sikhs, and you're still trying to sit here and say it was racist. I bet you still think he's racist.
I didn't say that he was racist. I said that he was part of the BNP that believed in ethnic nationalism.
In the past.
So it surprises me, but can you really repent for something
you kind of
like
are
this?
saying it's racist because you turned around to Sintage and says, how can you support someone like that? To a black woman, you're insinuating it.
I don't even think. Did you know during the EDL he had a sign that said black and white unite, and he also had a Sikh division.
This is true.
He had the LGBTQ
in the EDL.
During the EDL.
I just always wonder
why you don't talk about
where's
that.
the line drawn? Because is it the one drop rule, or is it like if you've been in Britain for a certain number of
If
generations?
you see Tommy Robinson, he's literally, when you see him with all his friends and stuff like that, like, there's very few of them that are white. Like, most of his friends are black guys. What you talking about?
Then are you considered British in their eyes? That what concerns me is what are the parameters of race that is acceptable for someone who may have been in the BNP, who may have been in the EDL? Where do you draw the line?
What if he actually took the time to actually look at Tommy Robinson's tweets rather than listening to the mainstream media that nobody cares about? Let me finish.
No, because I'm just not interested in the sort of. I'm not interested in this listening to the mainstream media nonsense, because immediately your argument is redundant to me.
So much backlash.
All he does on his social media when he's not calling me a giant sausage, all he does on social media is bash Muslims and Islam. That's his
no. He talks about political Islam, and he does because he lived in Luton where the grooming gangs, the rape gangs there were rampant. He saw it firsthand. They had the terrorists that ended up being banned for the UK. He said half of his school went to go and fight for ISIS. He knew people that went and died and fought for ISIS. So Piers, this annoys me so much about Piers. He sits there and he'll say things like, "Oh, you're trying to say that that the Sharia and the UK and these grooming gangs, they're not as bad as what people are saying they are." He's literally said stuff like that, and he's got no idea because he doesn't live in the real world.
He doesn't bash Muslims.
He literally had people on stage saying, "Get rid of all Islam from Britain." That means kicking every Muslim.
No, no, she never said that, and they never said that. They said they don't want Islam in government. They don't want, because Islam is not just it's a political ideology.
No, from Parliament. He never said from all Britain. He said from Parliament.
There were speakers saying get rid of Islam from this country.
If you're referring to the women, she said Parliament, and this is a Christian country.
So let me
should be Christians.
So let me ask you: there are 5 million Muslims in this country.
Yes.
Should they be allowed to stay?
Of course they can, as long as they abide by Christian customs and don't force their religion on us. The same way, if I go to Dubai, I would not force my Christian values on.
So when you had a guy called Ryan Williams performing with bacon on his shoulders, and his ex-account said, "My mission is to inflict maximum damage on Islam," we've got a picture of it here. What do you feel about that?
So we've got a Japanese guy playing with bacon on his shoulders, but he's getting called a white nationalist. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. So now what? Bacon's offensive. There's their sensitivity so clutching at their pearls that they cannot handle a guy playing an instrument with bacon on his shoulders. Get a grip.
I feel as though he should be free to do whatever, to get upset about someone putting bacon on their t-shirt.
Do you drink in Dubai? Do you drink when you go to Dubai?
I've never been to Dubai, but if I was to, I wouldn't drink because I respect people's customs.
Would you wear a bikini?
No, I wouldn't.
What would you wear if you went to Dubai?
Well, let me go to the only Muslim member of the panel today, which is Cenk Uygur. Cenk, welcome back
desperate
to Uncensored. You've got a guy there on stage with bacon on his shoulder who says his mission is to inflict maximum damage on Islam, and there was constant anti-Islam, anti-Muslim rhetoric during this rally. And if you look at Tommy Robinson's social media feed, it is a relentless attack specifically against Islam and Muslims. He pretends he's not anti-Muslim, but he constantly attacks the religion of Islam. So what's your view of this, Cenk?
It's not Muslims, it's just Islam.
Yeah. So look, I view it in two different ways. And I grew up Muslim, but I'm atheist now. So, I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to speak effectively enough for Muslims.
Hold on. Let's see how long Chunk takes to blame Israel. We'll take bets on this. I'll give him about 5 minutes. Maybe 4 minutes.
Bacon on the shoulder and the burqa skit, I don't care about it all. Oh wow, you showed a piece of bacon. It's not like Muslims don't know bacon exists. So I'm not offended by that at all. On the other hand, when they start talking about kicking out Muslims from Parliament, why? Why should Muslims not serve in Parliament? Well, that's obviously and directly racist and bigoted. And to me, the biggest problems, Piers, are the hypocrisy.
Is it going to be Israel? Who wants to bet?
Of course, if they said 1% of this about Jews, they'd probably literally be imprisoned in Britain. And it shows you the disparity in power that the two different groups have. And most importantly, a lot of this hatred toward
Wait.
Muslims are driven by Israeli propaganda.
Oh,
They want,
ding, 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 ding. There we have it. It's Israel's fault again. And then he lied there as well, saying like that Jews that you can don't get attacked, but then it's this is promotion that Muslims get attacked more. No chunk. Uh, Jews are attacked way more than Muslims are. Way more. Just recently, like we've had 2 Jews being killed in Manchester a few months back. They're getting attacked all the time. Their ambulances bombed. Their synagogues attacked. It's disgusting.
British and the Americans to hate Muslims so that they'll finance the wars against Israel's Muslim neighbors. So those are massive problems. And we've got to root out the people that are in our government and our media that serve foreign countries like Israel and purposely spread.
You mean like the people that are born in foreign countries and then come into our country and then I don't know, start serving being MPs and stuff, and then they'll go on and they'll say, when they talk about, oh yeah, my homeland's this country and that. No, if you're in British Parliament, your homeland should be the UK.
Bigotry and hatred. Silly skits about bacon I could care less about. And by the way, if we have the same rules, they're allowed to defend Muslims, but we're also allowed to defend Israel, great. But I'm coming to London in a couple of weeks, as you know, Piers, and I intend to greatly offend Israel. I don't know if I'll be arrested over there. You know, they have some absurd laws in England. My nephew, Hassan Piker, is coming with me.
Now, I want to say this. People were banned from that United Kingdom march. His nephew, Hassan Piker, has literally said on his channel that he supports Hamas, that he had Houthi members on, interviewing them, saying how much he loves them. He cried when I can't say his name. Is it Nasrallah or whatever his name was? Died, who was the leader of Hezbollah. He has literally stated that he supports Hamas. He should be a person that is banned from the UK. So I will be writing to my member of parliament, and I will be asking, because this fool's just admitted it, that he's going to be and Hassan, his nephew, has also on his channel said that he wants all Jews to die, things like that. So I'm going to ask my MP, and I think other people should do the same. Why is this radical Islamist being allowed in to come and speak in the UK when he clearly and openly supports terrorist groups? Who he went to that Hezbollah leader's funeral in Lebanon. He should not be allowed in this country.
He might be arrested because some pro-Israel people think that they can say anything they want about Muslims, but the minute you touch Israel, not even Judaism.
That's not true. That is not true. Jewish people, British Jews, are disproportionately more attacked than Muslims. Do you want to know how many the Muslims got? I think it was about $50 million for security for their mosques last year, because 2 got attacked. The churches, who the Islamists burned them down in the UK. There was like over 500 churches burned down last year, and into this year. We got 5 million. Hundreds of synagogues has been attacked as well, in Jews' heart. They got a fraction as well. They got 2. Now, I'm not saying anybody should attack mosques, synagogues, church, nothing like that. But when Islamists attack and burn down our churches, we get £5 million. They get 50 million for 2 mosques being attacked, and the Jews get just about 10 million for all the synagogues that have been attacked and burned, and pipe bombs planted and things like that. So no, I think the most protected group in this country isn't the Jews chunk. It's your the Religion of Pieces group.
be arrested. Obviously, that kind of double standard is unacceptable.
Don't come here.
And is the refuge of cowards.
Okay, let's bring in Don Keith. Welcome to Uncensored. You were
Thank you for having me.
You were banned from attending the Tommy Robinson March. Were you given any
this guy was banned. So Hassan Piker better be banned.
specific reason why?
I was not given any reason. The notice I got said that the government doesn't have to give you a reason. They don't always give you a reason. I was shocked by it because really, I guess my only crime is being associated with Tommy Robinson and speaking out against things like Islam.
Yeah, I mean, can you think of anything that you have done or said which would warrant you being denied access to the United Kingdom?
I've never committed a crime in my life. I've never incited violence. I've been to the UK. I've attended every one of these UTK rallies in the past. I think from the time it started 2 years ago, there's been 5 or 6. I've attended every single one. I've marched in every single one. I've never called for violence. So yeah, I'm just baffled as to why I would be banned from a country just for expressing an opinion. Being associated with Tommy Robinson.
Would you categorize yourself as far right?
Absolutely not.
No, everybody's far right. We should just now wear it with a badge of honour now, instead of trying to say, oh, we're not far right, we're not, because we all know we're not far right. But being called it just means nothing now. And for Piers to even ask, that's insulting.
What is far right? Who gets to define what far right? To me, the only thing that's far right apparently is if you disagree with any of Labor's policies or any left-wing policies, that makes you far right. The deciders of what's far right and what's hate speech and things like that are the people in power. That's why Britain is in such dire straits right now with their speech, because they don't have a constitution set in stone that protects their speech rights and their free expression. All they have is a litany of different court precedents and legal precedents that establish what can or cannot be free speech, and that's dictated by the party in power, which means they can change like the wind. That's not really free speech. Britain's never really had free speech. To me, they need some sort of constitution set in stone that protects it.
Do you believe that Muslims should be allowed in the UK Parliament?
Well, I'm not a British citizen. I don't like to have the problem with Islam and the problem with Muslims in Parliament is Islam itself and what it commands of Muslims. They must always make policies and legislation to protect Islam. It's Islam first and foremost. It's never a separation of church and state.
Well, they couldn't do that as part of the UK Parliament because they'd be subjected to UK law. So that
Piers, they're already doing it. People are being elected based on Gaza. People are running for local councils that are responsible for fixing roads and making sure the bins are cleaned out. And they're being elected because they're like, we're going to lend our voices to Gaza. Like, what the hell are you going to do for Gaza? You're a local councillor that's to fix the roads and clean out the bins, make sure the bins are cleaned out. What the hell are you, what pressure are you going to be able to use to put on Israel regarding Gaza? Nothing you say will make any difference to Gaza. So just shut up about bloody Gaza. I'm so sick to death about hearing about Gaza. For years now, every bloody weekend, we've had these daft protests regarding bloody Gaza, and we're sick of it. This is the thing that we're sick of. We don't want to hear about bloody Gaza and all Ukraine and stuff like that. We want our country to be fixed. We want our people to come first. We want the British people to matter. We don't care. We don't care about bloody Gaza. They brought it on themselves. They did. They went and attacked a far superior nation and murdered and raped and looted their way through the land. And killing babies, mothers, teenagers, men, and dogs, anything they could get their hands on. Barbarians. And so what they got, they must have known that was going to happen when they stole 260 Israelis and hid them in tunnels, when they murdered and paraded 2 babies' bodies out in stages. The Gazan citizens cheered and brought their kids and used it as a spectacle. It's so foreign that you look at that and you're like, how do people like cheer and clap and bring their kids to an event where Hamas is parading dead kids' bodies on the stage, and they're handing them back for 1,000 Palestinian that were captured that had went over the wall and started killing their way through Israel on October 7th. They're swapping bodies back to, like, any normal society would just give them back. Any normal societies wouldn't have murdered 2 little babies. Any normal society wouldn't have a bloody celebration, have their kids in that brought and paraded 2 child's dead bodies on the stage for the world to watch. It's alien to us. So this is why we're saying, like, we don't want that kind of shit in this country. It's backwards and it's messed up.
That's an irrelevance.
Well, they would do their damnedest to try. If you look at what's happening now, you don't even really need Muslim members in parliament to make change in your country. If you see what's happening all around your country, you don't even need Muslim members in parliament. All you need is key figures in local suburbs around in and around London, city councils, mayors, people who can affect change locally, and by caveat, you can affect an entire nation. That's what we see happening in Great Britain right now. You don't need parliament. You don't need the prime minister to be Muslim. All you need is mayors like
again. We just had a net election. I think it was done. I can't remember the area. If someone can type it up for me. Denton, and I think that might have been it. Sorry, I've not seen the comments. Oh God. That they were just elected based on a block vote. That was a vote based purely on religion.
Who can trickle down his policies to all the little boroughs.
But interestingly, I saw Sadiq Khan today, funny enough, at the Chelsea Flower Show, and we had a nice chat. And Sadiq Khan is actually a very moderate Muslim. There's no evidence of him ever forcing any kind of extreme Muslim views or laws down on anybody. That's why he's been re-elected twice, and he's one of the most successful mayors in London history. And yet he is portrayed in America as some kind of demonic Islamist extremist, and the same way that our free speech is completely mischaracterized by Americans. A lot of Americans believe that 12...
Here, just read this. Give me a second. Wait now. Try to read these messages. Sorry, guys. Okay.
Thousand people were arrested in 2023 for social media posts.
I don't know if it's like if someone's telling me to shut the F up. Can you make that clear if it is? Because the comments just went by, I couldn't read that. If you are, no, this is my channel. I'm not going to shut up for anybody. I'm allowed to have my own opinion. If you're not, I apologise.
Of the 12,000
non-violent speech offences.
Well, of the 12,000 arrests that were made, well, I'll tell you the reality. Of the 12,000 arrests that were made, 1,000 resulted in any convictions, and the vast majority of those were for things like stalking, domestic harassment, abusive ex-partners, incessantly sending threats, intimidating victims, credible violent threats.
Piers trying to pretend that British citizens aren't being arrested for things that they've said online. That I've even seen videos of preachers being arrested for preaching in the street because it's offended a Karen or something like that. Yeah.
Death threats, bomb hoaxes, threats of physical violence.
One of them was me.
And one of them was Ava.
Not hate speech. One of them was a man who had used hate speech online to say he was going to set my family on fire. So one of those arrests was a man who did that to me. Now, if you don't think that he should have been arrested, he should just be allowed to say he's going to set my family on fire, then we're on two different sides of the coin, clearly.
Well, Don, before you answer, the point I'm making is there is a weird mischaracterization, I believe, of my country. right? Which is that we're being overrun and overtaken by Muslims. Sharia courts are everywhere. They're ruling the roost and so on.
Piers, saying nobody's saying like we're being like every place has been overrun and stuff. People are just saying the country has changed. The demographic change has just been so fast, and people have not been. It's been done so quickly that people haven't integrated. And to say like there's not Sharia, there's literally 80 odd Sharia courts up and down the UK. So you're being disingenuous here.
This is actually true.
It is
right?
true.
I mean,
you've got about 85 Sharia courts.
They have no legal standing in the
I knew you were going to say that. They do not have legal standing per se. However, if you are a young woman, no, it's not full stop. If you are a young woman in Islam, if you are a young woman, you are forced to adhere to the decisions these courts make within your religion. If not, then you will be castigated by your family and ostracized by your family. You could be even subject to things like honor killings, depending on the situation. There have been young ladies in Britain and other Western countries.
Why is Chunk shaking his head? There's literally been, I've literally seen so many honor killings done in Britain. I've seen them done in America, but yeah, there's a few specific cases I can think of. I won't go into detail on them, but these women that have been killed by their own families because they've dishonored their families, because they've maybe dated outside their religion or something like that. But these things do happen. They do happen. And if you're married and, say, example, Islamic wedding, the only way, because it's not in a civil court in the UK, it's not seen as a legal kind of marriage. So the only way a woman can get divorced is to have to go to these Sharia courts, and so they do have some kind of legal, even if they don't have legal power, they do have technically some power.
You can shake your head all you want, but it's happened. A father recently tried to strangle his daughter in an honor killing, and I can't remember which Western country it was, but when these girls don't adhere to these laws or these decisions by these Sharia courts, and they could be subject to penalties within their own family. So while it may not be legal in the UK's eyes, these young girls are pressured by these courts, and it's them, as we know. Islam doesn't care about women. We know.
Out of interest, do you think there's ever been? Is there any evidence? Do you think in America, for example, of any violence towards young women who may have had an abortion, who come from a very, very strong Christian conservative family, for example? Because I can tell you there have been, but do you care about that, or is your interest?
Of course.
Of course, there has been, Piers. But the problem is, like, he's talking about like specific. I don't know. Piers is going to use the whataboutism, and I bet he's going to use the phrase like, well, because I suspect he'll start talking about the grooming gang, the rape gangs, and he's going to say that, well, white people rape more people, and while that's true, because this is it's a white country, you have to look at it more per capita.
Oh, so okay, that's fair enough. So I want to have a reasonable discussion. So,
sure.
So your view would apply to any religion where the religious belief leads to any form of intimidation or harassment or violence towards
anybody
women,
would say that. Of course.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. I do believe in protecting women. I believe in protecting any fragile human being. That's why I'm anti-abortion. That's why I'm pro-life. I think women, I think children, I think unborn babies should be protected to whatever extremes necessary.
Do you believe, Don? Because I know you were when Tommy Robinson was going through some of his court issues. You were there in court in the UK. Do you believe, as Tommy Robinson likes Americans to believe, that he has been a victim of suppression of his free speech, and the only reason he's been put in prison is because of that?
Of course he has.
I 100% believe that Tommy Robinson is a politically targeted figure. 100%, whether it be because of his free speech or to prevent him from speaking out, because we know that the Muslim electorate is very important in Britain. They can swing an election. That's why the members in Parliament and other people in the establishment, they want to silence Tommy Robinson at all costs. You look what they did for I know all about the Silence movie. He wasn't, he filmed a,
Well, the Silence movie, let's be clear. Let's be crystal clear about this. There's a reason Tommy Robinson won't come on this show. And the simple reason is he knows I would ask him about the Silenced movie and why he was in contempt of court and why he went back to prison. And it's because he tells a lot of lies in the Silence movie that were exposed as lies. Well, hang on, let me finish. There was, as you remember, a libel action that was taken, which he lost. Yep. He had to pay £100,000 to a young Syrian boy who he defamed with egregious lies. He then repeated all the lies in this film he made called Silenced, which he talks about very openly when he's in America. You know where he doesn't talk about this? Here, with people like me.
I've heard him talk about it several times. I heard him talk about it on stage.
But he never gets challenged. Don, here's my point. He never gets challenged directly about all the lies he tells in silence. The reason he got in prison was because of the breach of contempt of court law here, which was if you repeat the lies for which you've just lost a libel action and paid damages to this family, if you do that again, you will go back to prison. That is what he did. That has nothing to do with free speech.
Let me interject.
What was the lie?
Okay, as far as silence, I know that you love to get on here and tell that Tommy Robinson told lies about silence. That's not the case.
He did.
Everything told in silence was from the perspective. No. Oh yeah, one judge overrode 5 witnesses.
You know what you're doing? You're now repeating. You're now repeating.
I'm repeating
Don,
the witnesses.
I would be careful.
I'm repeating.
Don, be careful. You might be subject. There's Piers threatening you with British hate, defamation and hate laws. Piers, what you're forgetting is this is an American citizen. They've literally got freedom of speech in America. He don't give a shit about your threats. Let's be honest about that. The reason I'm not mentioning it is because I'm not a British citizen. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I am a British citizen. And, those, unfortunately, the nice freedoms of speech that the Americans has, we don't seem to have that here.
I'm repeating what the witnesses.
You are repeating. No, I've read every word of that court case.
Those people said it for declaration.
Your problem is you have a vendetta against Tommy Robinson because the last time he was on your show, he gave you a shellacking and you've never forgiven him for it.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He waved around the
Everybody knows it.
Like a silly little boy, and I held him to account for it.
Look at the clips, man. Look at the clips.
If your hero, Tommy, is so courageous and so fearless.
He's not my hero, he's my friend, but he is a champion to the British people.
Your friend, Tommy, all he has to do is sit here in this desk opposite me.
Why would he come on your show and give someone that's continuously slagged him off, Piers, why would he come on your show where you make money based on ads and views and all that kind of stuff with YouTube, and give you, because that's a show with Tommy Robinson and Piers Morgan being on it, it would garner a lot of views. Why would he give them to you? Why would he come on your show and give you that kind of, give you, that those earnings? With that hell?
And face the same questions. But you know why he's ducking me? Because he knows if he repeats the bullshit he spews to you guys that you all seem to swallow, he's going back to prison. He's going back to prison.
Answer to me. You cannot tell me how you know why you think it was a lie, because one judge said that the 5 people that he brought to court and said this Syrian boy did all these things, and the Fabian Society, the liberal Fabian Society judge says no, all of these witnesses are lying.
Well, you're now defaming the judge, which seems a really extraordinary thing. Cenk, here's the problem with this. Tommy Robinson wields an extraordinarily...
I live in a free country.
Well, hang on, Don. I've just given you free speech to have your rant. It's fine. I don't agree with it. We can agree to disagree.
You literally tried to threaten him with defamation.
So Cenk, here's the issue. Tommy Robinson wields an extraordinarily odd influence to the conservative right in America, who seem to believe all the stuff he comes out with. And in the process, he paints this picture of Britain, which I simply don't recognise. I live here. I walk around the streets, despite what some American guests have said. I go to football matches.
Piers, you're sitting in private boxes in the football. You live in the upstate areas of London. You've got gated gates in your house in Bel Air. You have got absolutely no idea what it's like to be a working class member in Britain. You have no bloody clue. Honest to God, to even say like you're one of us, like give me a bloody break. You have got no clue. I mean, the grooming rape scandal alone is one of the darkest things to happen in this country's history. It absolutely is. And for you to say, oh, there's absolutely no evidence that we see like this kind of stuff happening. Shut up. Shut up.
Real British people.
And I want to make it clear again, because I always have to mention this, it wasn't just white British girls that were targeted by these gangs, there were Sikh girls as well. So they also have to be remembered.
I'll be at one tonight with 60,000, mainly working class British people.
Yeah, but Piers, you're not sitting in with the working class, mainly British people. You've got a bloody box with your security and stuff.
Recognised, and it'll be full of people from all walks of life, black, white, Muslim, Jewish, Christian. And you know what? It's all fine. There's no Muslim takeover. The game won't be stopped halfway through because the Muslims have decided in a
I don't know, maybe go listen to some of the imams doing their sermons, Piers. Maybe you should start listening to that and come back at us when you've heard some of them.
A court that we're not allowed to play. This is all horseshit. Check. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's fine. 250,000 of your women are being raped by Muslim, but it's okay.
Again,
it's fine.
Utterly ridiculous statement.
Go to Birmingham, go to Manchester.
Utterly ridiculous statement. As I've said repeatedly, the vast majority of sexual crime against women in the UK.
Lord Malcolm Pearson in Parliament.
Don Keith. The vast majority of sexual crime against women in my country is committed by white men.
I can't believe Piers has just done whataboutism about that one of the darkest stains in our country's history, and he's like, well, white men do it. Yeah, we're quite well aware that white men can rape as well, Piers. Well aware of that. The thing is, though, when you've already got like rapists in your country, you don't want to bring more in, because then it's just going to, more girls are going to get raped. And the difference with the grooming gangs is that people were targeted because they were either, to begin with, it was like with the Sikh girls, but the Sikhs managed to get a grasp on it and so do something. They done it themselves with no help from the government, and that right enough though. But girls were genuinely targeted for the fact that they were white and British Christian girls. Scripture was read to them. Some girls were murdered. They had brandings burned into them. A girl had her tongue nailed onto a table. Another girl was set. Her and her sister were set fire in their house, burned alive. These are all cases that you can look online that happened.
Oh, here we go. You've never heard of per capita?
I have heard of per capita.
Disproportionately committed by Muslims against white Christian girls because it's a rape genocide.
Let me bring Cenk in. Cenk.
All right, so there's a couple layers of this. First of all, the idea that Sharia law is about to take over London, or here in America, Oklahoma keeps passing laws as if the Sharia law is about to take over Tulsa. This is all demagoguery, and it's super obvious.
I know, Trunk. Maybe try telling that to, I don't know, the Iranians when it happened to them. Try telling that to the Lebanese. You know, that used to be a Christian country. Tell that to the Syrians. It used to be the Egyptians. It used to be Coptic. So the Iran used to be Zoroastrian. Maybe try telling that to all the countries that were conquered, you know, and then Arabized, and now they're unrecognized. Like the oldest church in the world, the Sophia Hagia, it was changed into a mosque because that country, I think it was Turkey, I believe, was conquered by an Arabized. So,
especially in America, where Muslims are a tiny, tiny minority. So the reason why people push that forward is because they want people to hate Muslims.
No,
Now,
they
why do
don't.
they want people to hate Muslims? How come there's no propaganda against Buddhists or Hindus?
Alright, I have to apologise there. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened there. Let me just look at some of the comments, because this next bit with Chunk is absolutely unbelievable. Like, here we go. I'm going to look at some of the comments first though. Oh, sorry. Just lost the power and I hope it doesn't go again. Alright. Let me see. Cenk is a garbage. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Like, I'm trying to read the comments, but it's no, maybe I have to like flip it. Just let me do this. Is that let me read the comments? Robinson, see, they go so fast with this setting on. I'm so sorry. All corporate media is, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to see the comments and stuff. They fade away for some reason when I'm using this setting.